All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, I always enjoy when Isiah Thomas stops by the Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman show. It's very clear that he is a basketball genius, and beyond that, he's just an overall intelligent man in general. He seems to have failed as a dad. I mean, no disrespect, but if you have two homosexual sons, something went wrong. But just to get back to the point, he makes incisive comments. He always gets to the point, and the things that he says go beyond the pale when it comes to what the average basketball analyst states. He's not afraid to make statements that might be considered controversial. He does have some personal agendas. We all know that, especially when it comes to the quote-unquote LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate. But outside of that, his statements are always extremely revelatory. Well, he's decided that not only is he going to make a statement pertaining to Damian Lillard that is complimentary, but he's also going to establish a hierarchy in the NBA that many other NBA viewers, fans, pundits, etc. might not have been willing to consider before he said it. That being that Nikola Jokic is clearly a better overall player than Dame Lillard, which I wholeheartedly agree with. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Isiah, I hear what Stephen A. is saying. Butler, the other perimeter player, you got to get something. He has heart. He has the heart to do it. But to me, what you have now, LeBron did not in the playoffs to remind us he's the best. The baton is laid down. Who wants it? Right? Every team except the Warriors, they got two MVPs, right? So I'll give Harden, I'll cut him a little slack. He's going up against two MVPs. Everyone else, Jokic or Lillard, who wants it? Right? Like the team, I know it's matchups, I know it's teams, I know it's coaching, but I remember in your career, 1 foot, no excuses. You balled out. You had to have an incredible team around you to win a championship, and you did twice, but you were...
Let me say this, because Max Kellerman brought it up. The Bad Boy Pistons are probably one of the most underrated teams when it comes to talent from top to bottom in the history of the NBA. That's why Magic Johnson stated when he had that sit-down with Isiah Thomas that the Lakers of the mid-'80s, they knew what they were getting when they went up against the Larry Bird Celtics. They were going to try to out-execute you in the half-court set because they had 5 players on the floor who had extremely high basketball IQs and were great passers in the half-court set and also great converters of the basketball. They could score very easily in the half-court set, and also when they ran the fast break, they would execute the fast break to perfection. They were just not that fast, the Boston Celtics of the 80s. Well, the Lakers were able to outrun the Celtics, and that's what allowed them to defeat Boston in 2 out of 3 World Championship matchups. Well, when the Lakers faced Detroit, that was a whole different type of back and forth because the Pistons were actually faster and more athletic than the Lakers were. And that created a bit of a conundrum for Los Angeles because they were so accustomed to outrunning everybody. Even Isiah Thomas was faster than Magic. Joe Dumars could keep up with Byron Scott. And then you had Dennis Rodman and John Sally and Mark Aguirre. Before that, Adrian Dantley. Like, they could run with the Lakers. They actually were faster than the Lakers. And their bench was better than the Laker bench. That's why they should have beaten them in 88. The Pistons should have beat them in 88, much less 89. So, you know, even in basketball, styles make fights.
You were the leader of the team. You were the best player on the team. In the end, isn't that what it comes down to?
It comes down to that, but you also got to have a squad with you. And I look at Lillard, and there's no question when you say who wants it the most in these playoffs championship series, it's Lillard.
I agree.
I mean, not only does he want it the most, but he's showing that he wanted the most. He's got the courage to take the shot. I mean, Max, I couldn't dream of taking a last-second shot the way he took it.
Cold-blooded.
Not only was it cold-blooded, but again, the courage that he had to take that shot. No one in my era playing basketball would stand out there with 14 seconds to go, damn near half court, wave goodbye to the fans and everybody, and then step back and drop a 3. Now we would try to get
39 feet.
We would try to get to the basket. We would try to, but we would not have the courage to take that shot.
Practiced.
That's because back then the coach would have pulled you out of the game if you even thought about taking that shot, Isiah.
Correction, fellas. He hit the shot first, then waved goodbye, and it wasn't to the fans. It was to Russell Westbrook and the OKC Thunder.
Yeah, it was to Westbrook. He said, Westbrook, get your bitch ass up out of my stadium.
Let's be very, very clear about that reality. But one of the other things that Max and I was debating early in the show, Zeke, was this. He was talking about who wants it more, whatever. And I'm saying the best player on the basketball court doesn't always win. Early in his career, it wasn't Jordan. Early in his career, it wasn't you. What happened?
You know why? It's because they were not the best basketball players. They were the best basketball talents. That's what that means. There's a reason why Magic Johnson and Tim Duncan and Larry Bird and Bill Russell won the NBA title so early in their career. Because they were more ready-made. They were more ready-formed from the first time that they stepped onto an NBA basketball floor. It took a while for Isiah Thomas and Michael Jordan to get to the maturity level where they could be championship level players. And of course, their personnel got better. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to try to neglect that. There's without a doubt that the personnel on their squad got better, yes. But they also matured as players. Isiah Thomas in his first few years in the league was averaging 21 and 13, 22 and 13 every season. And I mentioned this in other videos. He actually had beat out Magic Johnson for first team All-NBA in the early to mid 80s in about 2 or 3 consecutive seasons. Michael Jordan put up unbelievable individual numbers in the mid to late 80s, but he did not become a championship level player until the early 90s when he realized that that point per game average had to come down from 37 and 35 points per game to about 30, 31, 32 points per game. That's when he became a champion.
What happens is the supplementary parts around you have to show up as well. And when I look at Jokic and the effect that he has on the game,
I'm not quite sure if Jokic is the best big man in the NBA because you also have Anthony Davis, you also have Joel Embiid. But he's certainly the smartest big man in the NBA when it comes to basketball IQ and his willingness to improve the output of his teammates. I will give Jokic that.
His girth, his mass, his rebounding, his passing, his decision-making, they run the offense through him half the damn time, okay?
Yeah, he's a brilliant basketball player, that Jokic.
Okay, and he makes those other guys better. I'm looking at a guy like Damian Lillard. You dropped 39 last night, shooting 57% from the field, and you still lose. So it's entirely possible to me that Damian Lillard can end up exploding this series and Portland still not have enough.
Possible.
Yeah,
I think Portland's going to beat them, though, because they have more experience. I think Denver has the better roster from top to bottom, but I think that Portland has more experience, and that's going to win the day for them.
He wants it more, I believe, but Jokic is the best player in the series.
Oh,
Agreed.
oh, that's what I'm really saying.
Yeah, you know.
You think Jokic is maybe that Denver has a little too much from him. You're saying Jokic is a better player than Lillard.
Jokic is the best basketball player in the series.
Okay, that's what
Absolutely.
I'm asking.
Yeah, no. He's the best basketball player in the series because what he's doing in the playoffs in terms of putting up triple doubles, legitimately putting up triple doubles.
That's a shot at Westbrook. People are finally starting to wake up to them bullshit-ass triple-doubles. Isiah Thomas said legitimate triple-doubles. So he's making a distinction between legitimate triple-doubles and illegitimate triple-doubles. And it's good to see people finally catching up to what Russell Westbrook is about. No disrespect to the brother, extremely talented, a freak of nature athletically, but he's been putting up bullshit triple-doubles for the last 3 seasons, and people are finally starting to see the shit for what it is.
And I believe this, and I've said this before, when the big guys really come to play, and they stop
And when they can play.
throwing their weight around and everything else, we as smaller players, the only thing we can truly depend on is those guys to make a mistake. If they don't make a mistake, they're going to beat us every single
If
time.
they can pass, if they can do
I mean, Jokic can pass, he can shoot, he can assist, and then he's a
top
big
5
boy.
player
In the NBA
Jokic.
right now?
No, not yet. Jokic is not top 5 in the NBA right now. He's top 10. He's not top 5. Top 5 off top is going to be LeBron and KD in whatever order you want to have them. You also have Steph. You have Kawhi. You have James Harden. You have Giannis. So no, Jokic is not top 5. But I will put him in the top 10.
I wouldn't say he's top 5.
But he and Lillard both top 10.
Oh, they definitely top 10.
All right, we got it.
I'm not quite sure if that's a definite. I would say that Jokic is top 10. I'm not quite sure if Lillard is top 10. He might be just outside that fringe because I would take Kyrie over Dame myself. But that's just me. I would have to sit back and think about that list. I'm not quite sure if Dame is top 10. If he's not top 10, he's somewhere around 11 or 12, definitely. So peace.